Welcome to episode 24 of the Gambots podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and this is my co-host.
It's Christian.
On this week's episode, we're going to be doing something a little bit special. We're going to be going through the Oscar categories and giving our predictions for the winners. Now, just for full disclosure, neither Christian or I have seen every movie on this list, but between us, I think we've seen a fair few of them. So we will make some notes on that when we're putting in our predictions. But first, I'm going to start with, I think, what are generally considered the lesser important categories. So we'll end with Best Picture. So first, I'm going to start with visual effects. The nominations this year were Avengers: Infinity War, Christopher Robin, First Man, Ready Player One, and Solo: A Star Wars Story. Which ones of these have you seen?
I have seen Avengers, Ready Player One, and Solo.
I've seen the same exact ones.
Perfect.
So do you have any thoughts on what do you think the favorite is now, based on what you've seen and then based on what you know about Christopher Robin and First Man?
I think it's got to be Avengers.
Yeah, theirs was probably the biggest budget one. I guess I don't know how visual effects usually goes because I don't normally pay attention, but I think of those three, those were definitely the most impressive CGI. Had the most impressive CGI compared to. I hated what Ready Player One looked like.
Yeah, so that's something I wanted to bring up was Ready Player One had a lot of graphics because a big chunk of the movie took place inside a video game. So there was a lot there that they could have done with the visual effects, but I think a lot of it ended up dipping kind of down towards the uncanny valley in a way that I wasn't really on board for.
Yeah, and so I have seen very little about First Man, so I can't really gauge how it stands up, but I really liked what they did with Christopher Robin bringing the Winnie Pooh characters to life. I think that could be the dark horse of this one just because I think it looked more practical, and I think they probably had some more practical effects in there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
All right, so you're down for Avengers on this one. I'm going Christopher Robin.
All right.
And so next is costume design, and the nominations for this one are The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Panther, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Returns, and Mary Queen of Scots. For this one, the only two I have seen are The Ballad of Buster Scruggs and Black Panther. What about yourself?
I've only seen Black Panther.
So do you have any strong takes on this one from what you know?
I know that the Academy tends to really love a period piece. So I'm tempted to say, well, I definitely want to say either Favorite or Mary Queen of Scots. I'm tempted to lean towards Mary Queen of Scots.
Yeah, so I don't think The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is going to win this. It was, they had fine costume design, but it was Old West, and like you said, I think if you have an old English or some sort of costume design like that, I feel like the Academy tends to eat that up. I think Black Panther not going to win this one. They had some cool costumes and everything like that, but I just don't see it winning costume design. From what I've seen between The Favorite and Mary Queen of Scots, I think Mary Queen of Scots have just bigger and more just those huge dresses that queens and stuff would wear. I will also guess that that's what wins.
Yeah, I would love it if Black Panther won. I think the work they did was extraordinary because they basically created this entire world that they live in. They drew reference based on other African cultures and things, but with Favorite and Mary Queen of Scots and even with Mary Poppins, they had historical points that they could point to and say, well, this is what they wore at that time period, and so they could just base a costume around that. Not to say that it wasn't a lot of work and they didn't do a great job, but I feel like Black Panther was kind of in a class of its own where they literally had to start from nothing and develop this entire world, and they really made it feel real, I guess, and I think the costume was a big part of that.
The third category is makeup and hair, and this one only has 3 nominations, which I'm a little bit surprised of because I thought they usually at least try and do 4 or 5. So for this one, Border was nominated, Mary Queen of Scots was nominated, and Vice. So I've not seen any of these ones.
I've only seen Vice. I don't know anything about Border. I'd never even heard of it until it appeared on this list.
Same. I have no concept of what Border is even about.
Of the two that I've heard of, I think Mary Queen of Scots is probably going to take this one as well.
Yeah, I agree. Mary Queen of Scots, like we said a little bit on the costume design, I have a feeling that that's going to be looked more favorably than the makeup they did for Vice, even though they did really make Christian Bale look like Dick Cheney. I think Mary Queen of Scots wins this one.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I know the Academy loves a period piece.
Moving on to original song, the nominations are All the Stars from Black Panther by Kendrick Lamar, I'll Fight from RBG by Diane Warren, The Place Where Lost Things Go from Mary Poppins by Mark Shyman, Shallow from A Star is Born by Lady Gaga, and When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings from The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Do you remember any of these songs?
Well, I only saw Black Panther and Star is Born. I remember those two.
So I remember the Ballad of Buster Scruggs song. It's in the first of its short vignettes of films. I've heard "Shallow" from the movie, but just because it was a pretty big song. And I've heard All of the Stars. I haven't heard I'll Fight or The Place Where Lost Things Go. I've heard, though, that The Place Where Lost Things Go is actually not the best Mary Poppins song, and people were confused by its nomination. So what do you think will win?
I hate to say it, but I think Shallow's going to win. I think Lady Gaga's going to take it.
Yeah, I don't actually like that song, but people seem to be in love with A Star is Born, and because it has Lady Gaga behind it, I think this is going to be a popularity contest, and that one would win. I actually liked All the Stars from Black Panther personally the best of the three I've heard, but I'm with you. I think Shallow is going to take this one.
Yeah, I mean, she's fresh off a Grammy win. I think this is going to be it for her.
Yeah. All right, moving on to something similar, original score. And now I always have a little bit of a hard time differentiating, original score, sound mixing, sound editing, sound design, all that stuff. So I'm gonna lean more towards you. Maybe you'll know better than I do. But the nominees were Black Klansman, Black Panther, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins Returns.
So I really, really want Black Panther to win this one. I'm not sure that it will, but I'm really hopeful because I feel the same way about this one that I feel about the costume design. They just perfectly captured the culture and the atmosphere that they wanted for this setting and this story with the score. I thought it was outstanding.
So I've recently watched Black Klansman. I don't think that'll win. Like, it did not stick out to me of anything huge. So I don't think that will win. I saw Black Panther so long ago, I don't remember what its original score sounds like. I do remember Isle of Dogs' score, but I remember it because it mostly felt repetitive a little bit. They had a lot of, I think, Japanese-inspired drums and things like that, but I don't think that one's my guess, even though I haven't seen it. I just know Mary Poppins, the original movie, had so much music in it. I'm leaning towards Mary Poppins Returns because I'm assuming they had pretty solid music in this one.
Cool.
Next is production design, and the nominations were Black Panther, First Man, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Returns, or Roma. So I've only seen Black Panther on this one.
Yeah, so that's the same for me. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit unclear, what specifically production design is, but wildly with no real background on this, I'm picking First Man.
All right, I'll do the same. I'll take a shot in the dark and I'll go with Favorite.
We'll see how we do with that one.
All right.
All right, next up is sound mixing, and this is where I wish like I understood things better on some of these more technical fields. You got Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, Roma, and A Star Is Born. So again, we said we've seen Black Panther, we've both seen Bohemian Rhapsody, and you've seen A Star Is Born. You haven't seen First Man, but have you seen Roma?
I've not yet. It keeps popping up on my Netflix, and I keep saying soon. So hopefully this week.
Yeah. Do you have any inklings on what do you think could win sound mixing?
I'm feeling like Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm leaning towards Bohemian Rhapsody as well, but this might be a little bit of a recency bias, and just because it's based on music from Queen, but I really did like the music in that. So I know sound mixing is supposed to be a little bit different than do you enjoy the music, but I have bias in this one, so I'm leaning and would vote for Bohemian Rhapsody. So the next category is sound editing, and this includes Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, A Quiet Place, in Roma. So essentially the same nominations, except for A Star Is Born has been replaced by A Quiet Man from sound mixing.
Yeah, so I think Quiet Place is going to take this one. Maybe it's just the tip off that like they included this and in this one and not in the other one. But I feel like Quiet Place has to win something for sound, like a sound technical category, because they did such a good job weaponizing sound in that movie.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for A Quiet Place as well. And I haven't seen this one, but from everything I've heard about it, it sounds like if they did not nail the sound, sound and everything on this one, it would not have nearly been as big of a hit as it was. So I will vote for that as well.
Yeah, they really did an outstanding job. I feel like if it doesn't win this category, it's going to be a real shame.
Yeah, do you have a number two who you think would take it if A Quiet Place doesn't?
Probably Bohemian again.
Yeah, I really should have saw First Man because I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm really curious how their sound is, but like I said before, since I haven't seen it, I would probably lean towards Bohemian Rhapsody as number two as well. But definitely, I think Quiet Place gets this one. All right, so our next category is film editing, and this category is actually part of a controversy. Do you know anything about that controversy, Christian?
So yeah, this is one of the 4 categories that they decided to air during a commercial break and then just tell you when it came back who won. And there was such a monumental amount of backlash from both viewers and from people in the industry that they this week decided to change their mind again, and it will be part of the broadcast again. They're going to show all 4.
Yeah, so it was film editing, cinematography, live action short, and makeup and hairstyling, which I guess we actually had gone over. I didn't realize that was one of them. I don't understand why they would choose how they pick these ones, to say we're not going to air these. I could see hair and makeup just because there are only three nominees. And I could even see live action short because almost no one watching the Oscars are going to have seen these. But cinematography and film editing are staples of movies, so it was a little bit odd for them to cut those, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a very strange choice. It was nice to see the actors and the directors come out in such protest against this, because they basically all said exactly that. Like, cinematography and filmmaking can make or break a movie. It's the heart and soul of it, and it was just very strange to see people decide not to recognize them on television.
And another thing too that I think is a little bit understated in this is, the Oscars are generally just recognizing all the big names, our actors and everything. But to make a movie, you have huge crews of people working on these. And this is really those people's one night of recognition. And so even though I don't care about hair and makeup, I know people really work for that. Like, give them their 10 minutes or whatever it is. Like, how much time are you really saving putting these four categories over commercial breaks? I mean, eliminate the opening monologue since you don't have a host this year, and you save 10 to 20 minutes right there that you could put these into.
Yeah, the Oscars has been a bit of a mess leading up to it this year, so we'll see how the broadcast actually goes. But between the Kevin Hart debacle, and then we're not going to have a host, and then we're cutting these categories, and oh wait, just kidding, and they did the popular film category they were kicking around, and then they had to rescind that. Like, it's not been a banner year for this.
Well, they've had a rough couple years. I mean, so first you had the was it Oscars So White campaign, and then the mess up with Moonlight and La La Land. I can't remember which one happened first, but I think that happened after the Oscars So White campaign. And then this year you had, like you said, just one thing after another.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mess. It's like they're trying so hard to try and figure out why their viewership is decreasing, and they're coming to all the wrong conclusions about the answer to that.
Yeah, I really think they are. I mean, Christian, my one suggestion, maybe I'm in the minority in this. I hate watching all the songs get live performances. That adds like 40 minutes to the show that I don't care about. I will listen to them on YouTube, you know?
See, I tend to like the performances sometimes. I mean, sometimes they're a bit over the top. I heard somebody on a different podcast mention that they would want to see a mashup. I think that would be a neat idea. I don't think it would work very well, but I like the idea in practice.
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't mind that. I think it breaks the flow of me wanting to see who's winning, and then it's like, no, it's here's a 5-minute song, and then a commercial, 5-minute song, commercial. So just 10 minutes of dead space for me of not caring right there.
Well, that was another controversy that they had leading up this year, was they said they were going to skip some of the live songs, and it was unclear as to which ones were getting cut, and I'm not sure if that's another decision that they reversed or if they're actually not going to perform all 5 of them anymore.
I would be so mad if I was those performers, though. Like, I get it. Like I said, I don't like them, but if you're going to show one, like, it's real favoritism if you don't show them all. Like, what if one who you didn't show wins?
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, I just don't understand. But let's get back to the categories. So film editing had Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, Green Book, The Favorite, and Vice. Now, you've seen most of these.
I have, yes.
Who do you think will win this one?
I would like Vice to win. They had a lot of really strange, like, film editing choices that they made. There's a point about halfway through the movie where they interject like a fake credit sequence, like, and then the story continued happily ever after, and then just kidding, we have to still get through the Bush administration. So they made some cool choices. Adam McKay was the director on that, and he's done that in the past. They had a lot of weird choices like that for The Big Short, a movie that he worked on. So I hope it's Vice. I don't know that it's going to be. I would like to see Black Klansman win this one. Or rather, I think Black Klansman is going to win this one.
So after thinking about this, I originally was linked towards Black Klansman. I think they're not going to win this one. I think they'll win cinematography, though. But
that's a possibility.
I've heard a lot of chatter on the internet about Vice, and like you said, they had some weird choices. But I don't know if that comes into people's voting on film editing. Like, were those choices really, were they bad or good? I don't know if it hurts them on them. So I don't think I would go with them. I don't know who I would go for on this one just because I don't know a lot about it, but I would probably lean towards Vice based on internet chatter. The next category, which I'm having a feeling we're not going to be able to really vote on this one, Best Foreign Language Film. We have Capernaum from Lebanon, Cold War from Poland, Never Look Away from Germany, Roma from Mexico, and Shoplifters from Japan. Did you get a chance to check out any of these?
Not a single one.
Yeah, I haven't either. The only thing I've heard about was I heard about Shoplifters, and it looked pretty cool, and I wanted to see it, but I never got a chance to because I think it was still in theaters or something. Like, I was never able to find a stream for it. So that just on pure nothing else other than I had heard of it, I'm going with Shoplifters. I mean, I heard of Roma, but I don't know. That's probably the one that'll win because it has a lot of other nominations. But I'm going Shoplifters.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Roma.
I think it's a safe bet.
I think it might get snubbed for Best Picture, and I think they're gonna give it this one as like a consolation prize.
Yeah, could be. So next one is, again, I think a couple of the next categories are going to be a little rough on us. So best live action short film, you have Detainment, you have Fauve, you have Marguerite, you have Mother, and you have Skin. Now I can't even find a lot of information about any of these, so I got nothing. I will just pick a pure guess, but do you have any information on these ones?
Not a word.
I'm picking Detainment. I think this is the one about a kid from England who was like 6 and murdered a 3-year-old, and it was supposed to be very jarring. He was either from England or Ireland. I can't remember, but I know it got a lot of bad press. So that's the one I'm thinking of. That's what I'm going for. I'm going with that one, and I think it's Detainment.
I'm going to say Marguerite because it is fun to say.
All right. Next one, similar. Best documentary short subject. You have Black Sheep, Endgame, Lifeboat, A Night at the Garden, and Period, End of Sentence.
Nope, don't know anything about any of these either.
I've heard of Night at the Garden. Sorry. So yes, this is why I've heard of it. Night at the Garden was essentially a bunch of archival footage of a Nazi rally in New York in 1939. I haven't seen it, but just based on today's political climate, I'm going to vote on that one, that one will win.
Okay. I'm going to say Period, End of Sentence.
All right. I think that one's about getting female care products in, I want to say a third world country, but I'm not positive. I think that's what that's about.
Yeah, I think I've seen it on Netflix. Like I was scrolling around a lot, like Wednesday night and Thursday afternoon. I'm pretty sure I scrolled past it on that. So I think I do remember reading like the synopsis. So yeah, I'll go with that. Just because the same kind of reason, like I've heard of it.
Yeah. All right. So next category is best documentary feature. I don't have a lot to go to this one, except I have watched one of the movies and we talked about it, I think, last week. So the nominations are Free Solo, Hale County This Morning, Minding the Gap, Of Fathers and Sons, and RBG. Have you seen any of those or have any input on those?
I have seen Free Solo. I have not seen the others.
What's Free Solo about?
It is about a guy who is climbing El Capitan in Yosemite, and so it's just a documentary about him climbing.
So is that who you're voting for?
I'm sorry, it's a documentary about him climbing, but he doesn't use any ropes or anything.
Oh wow, geez. So he's a free climber.
Yeah,
I see. I get the name now. He's a solo free climber. All right. Is that who you're voting for?
I think I'm going to vote for RBG.
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I really like Minding the Gap, and I haven't watched RBG, but just because in today's political climate, and especially with Ruth Bader Ginsburg's health, I think that's gonna win. Even though I really like Minding the Gap, I will vote for that as well. Next up, I have completely gaffed on film editing because BlacKkKlansman is not part of cinematography like I thought it was. So I'm actually going to go back and change my answer and give it to BlacKkKlansman. I really thought it was up for cinematography. So changing my answer there. So cinematography, we have Cold War, The Favorite, Never Look Away, Roma, and A Star Is Born. Now, I haven't seen any of these ones, so I don't have anything. Well, what about you?
I'm surprised to see Star Is Born because I was not really taken in by the cinematography in that movie. Like, it was fine, I guess. But usually when I see a movie on this list that is a movie that I've seen, I can think back and be like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, oh, that scene in particular, or this scene in particular was really striking. And there really wasn't much of that in Star Is Born. It was much more focused on the singing. So I'm probably going to say The Favorite because even just based on the trailer, the cinematography looked really, really good.
Yeah, I'm just guessing on this. I'm going with Roma. I've heard a lot of people say good things in general, so I'm guessing that one.
All right.
Okay, so next we have original screenplay, and the nominations were The Favorite, First Reformed, Green Book, Roma, or Vice. And for this one, I've only seen one, which is Green Book, and I actually really, we talked about it on the podcast where it has some of a bad rap, but I liked it, and I thought his screenplay was fine, so I'm going to vote on that one. What about yourself?
I'm going to go with Vice.
All right.
I feel largely the same about that I felt about the editing. It was just they made some interesting choices I'd like to see pan out for them.
So next we have adapted screenplay, and the nominations are The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Klansman, Can You Ever Forgive Me, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. I know you've seen some of these ones. What do you think on best adapted screenplay?
I think it's going to be If Beale Street Could Talk. I haven't seen it, but I've heard outstanding things. Can You Ever Forgive Me was good, and so was Black Klansman, but I don't know that they were good enough.
Yeah, that's where I'm with If Beale Street Could Talk, because I haven't seen it, but on the internet, everyone I have read has said it was robbed from being a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is its category to lose, but I actually just don't have faith in people. I think they're going to put over A Star Is Born, so I'm going to put that down for what I think wins, even though from what it sounds like, I think If Beale Street Could Talk should win. So next we have animated short, and I've only seen one of these. I was going to go see all of these weekend. They're playing at theaters near me, but I'm actually going out of town now, so I'm going to miss animated short, short documentary, and short live action, which is kind of unfortunate. So animated short was Animal Behavior, Bow, Late Afternoon, One Small Step in Weekends, and the only one I've seen is Bow. It played before The Incredibles 2, and I thought it was really good, and I think Pixar generally crushes animated shorts, so I will go with the one I've seen.
Yeah, that was my inkling as well. I did see a little bit of talk online when this first was in theaters, when Incredibles was first in theaters, rather. And a lot of people didn't really seem to be with it. I guess this was something that didn't really connect with a lot of audiences, although the audiences that it did connect with, it really connected with them. So I guess it's just going to depend on who's voting. But yeah, I'll go with that one as well. I hope it succeeds.
Yeah, so an issue with Bao was it turned out, because it's based around an Asian family. I believe they're Chinese, but I'm not sure. It's an Asian family, and this woman makes a steam bun that comes to life, and then she treats it like her kid, and then she gets mad and ends up, having issues with it, and she eats it, and then starts crying. But then it turns out like the dumpling was basically, I think allegory is the right word, or at least a parallel with her son, where it seems like her son was trying to grow up and she was holding him back, and people were confused thinking that like they did not get that the dumpling was actually her son. Like they thought they were two separate entities and people were really confused by it. So I couldn't believe that. It really resonated with me. I thought it was well done. Like I thought it was very emotional for like a 7-minute short. But I was surprised when I heard people did not understand what was going on. All right. So our next category, which is one I actually have seen all but one of these, and I'm pretty excited to talk about them, are animated features. So there's Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Have you seen most of these, Christian?
Yeah, I've seen all but Mirai.
Same, and I really tried to find a way to watch Mirai. Like I looked for streams on the internet, I looked for pirate sites. I couldn't find anything because this is supposed to be like one of the best animated movies to come to the U.S. since at least one that I've heard a lot. A lot of people talk about was Spirited Away, and the other one came out a couple years ago. I can't remember what it was, but this is supposed to be a great movie. and I was a little disappointed I was not able to find it. So I'm looking forward to getting a chance to watch it someday. So do you have any opinions on this category?
I have a lot of opinions on this category. So,
what are they?
I didn't much care for Ralph Breaks the Internet at all. It was fine. Incredibles 2 was pretty good. I'm not as big as an Incredibles fan as the rest of the world seems to be, so I kind of had a take it or leave it opinion on that one as well. Isle of Dogs, I absolutely loved. It looked so weird, but it was a Wes Anderson movie, and I tend to like Wes Anderson movies, and so I went in on it, and my God, did it surprised me. It's definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and there's no way I expect it to win, but man, I really enjoyed it. But that brings me to Spider-Man, which was for sure the best movie in this category, and if it doesn't win, it's going to be a tragedy.
Yeah, so we've seen basically the same ones. I liked Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I don't think it's best animated feature worthy. Like, it was a fun movie. I thought the first one was way better just because it was so out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a fun movie, but I don't think it's best animated feature of the year. Same with Incredibles 2. Like, it was a rehash of the first story with small twists, and it was good, but again, I think the first one's better. I don't think it's picked best animated of the year. Isle of Dogs, I thought was okay. I'm definitely not as high on it as you. I'm also a big Wes Anderson fan, but something with it didn't really click with me as much. Like, I don't know what it was. I was going into it with really high expectations and left a little bit disappointed. Like, it was a fine movie. I think people should check it out, but I don't think it beats Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse like you. I think of the movies I've seen, that's clear and away up there. I thought it was going to be bad. I hated its art style when I first saw the previews, but it won me over. Like, it was awesome. The only thing that I think could have competed with it, at least in my mind, was Mirai, because I had heard a lot of glowing things about it, but I haven't seen it, so I'm not able to actually compare it. And I don't think the Academy gives this to an anime. Like, I don't think that's ever happened, and I don't think it happens this year. My only worry is apparently I've heard animated feature is one like people don't take the time to see, so it's one of those categories where people will vote whatever their kids saw, so there's a chance like Incredibles wins based on people being lazy with their votes. But I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the best of the ones that I've seen, and I will vote for that one.
Yeah, and I think enough people went and watched Spider-Man that even if they do just vote for what their kids see, and I think it'll get a good shake.
Okay, now we're getting into the big categories. So for Best Director, we have Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman, Pal Polakowski for Cold War, Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and Adam McKay for Vice. I haven't seen all these, but I think Spike Lee wins with BlacKkKlansman. I thought it was an okay movie, but I thought it was very well directed. And like I said, I originally thought cinematography was up for there, because he really lets scenes just go, which I think works in his favor for the Oscars. So my vote is for Spike Lee winning this one. What about you?
I tend to agree with you. I think this is going to be his victory lap.
So the next category is Best Supporting Actress. And for this one, we have Amy Adams in Vice, Marina de Tavira in Roma, Regina King in If Beale Street Could Talk, Emma Stone for The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz for The Favorite. I have not seen any of these movies, so I have no authority to talk on this one.
I've only seen Vice. I think it's going to be one of them for Favorite. Well, I don't know. They could give it to Regina King for Beale Street for the same reason that it'll win the other one, just because it was a big snub for Best Picture.
Yeah, if I had to guess wildly, I would guess Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk, just because I heard so much about it. All right, next we have Best Supporting Actor, and we have Mahershala Ali for Green Book, Adam Driver for BlacKkKlansman, Sam Elliott for A Star Is Born, Richard E. Grant in Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell in Vice. What do you think on this one?
I think this is the first category where I've seen every single movie.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
This is also one where I desperately want 3 different people to win at the same time. Like, if they could give multiple awards, this is the one. I loved Adam Driver in Black Klansman. I loved Richard E. Grant in Can You Ever Forgive Me? But I think Mahershala Ali is going to win for Green Book.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I've only seen Black Klansman and Green Book, but I thought Mahershala Ali did a better job than Adam Driver, even though Adam Driver has grown on me this year. I did not love him as Kylo Ren. Like, I thought he was fine, but then I saw him in what was that West Virginia bank robbery movie?
Logan Lucky.
Yeah, but then I saw him in Logan Lucky, and he crushed it, and I really liked him in this one. And in general, I like Sam Elliott, but I really liked Ali's performance in the Green Book, so I would vote for that one.
Yeah, just on the topic of Sam Elliott, he wasn't really in Star is Born that much. He was only in it for about 10 minutes out of like a 6 or 7 hour movie.
Did he like steal the scene or something? I don't know.
Not really.
Well, that's interesting to hear. All right, so we're to the big 3 right now. So lead actress, Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, Glenn Close in The Wife, Olivia Colman in The Favorite, Lady Gaga in A Star is Born, and Melissa McCarthy in Can You Ever Forgive Me? I haven't seen any of these again, so I will be guessing. What about you?
I've seen 2, but I'm gonna say Olivia Colman for Favorite.
I'm going to guess Lady Gaga, even though I don't particularly like her, and I'm sort of not seeing A Star is Born on principle just because I think it looks dumb, even though it's probably a position to have. I think she'll probably I don't know. She's a pop star. I don't know if they give it to her.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, she's just off winning her Grammy. I think they're going to give it to her for Best Original Song, and I think they're going to let her be happy with that.
Yeah. I don't know if I was betting on this, I actually would go for Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, just because. I don't know why. That's what I would put my money on.
All right.
Okay. For lead actor, you have Christian Bale in Vice. You have Bradley Cooper in A Star is Born. You have Willem Dafoe in At Eternity's Gate. You have Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, and you have Viggo Mortensen in Green Book. So I think we were both in agreement that we think Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali should have been switched. So I don't think he wins this one. I thought Rami Malek was pretty good in Bohemian Rhapsody, and I haven't seen the other 2. So I was actually surprised to see Willem Dafoe up here. I just think no one saw his movie, so I feel like that doesn't win.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Rami Malek.
Yeah, I am too. That's just because I that's one of them I've seen, but he was really solid as Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, he did do a good job with this. The movie itself had some issues. I don't know that it deserves to win Best Picture, but I do think that he deserves to win Best Actor for this.
All right, and then that brings us to Best Picture. So the nominations are Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice. Now, on this one, I know you've seen a majority of these movies.
Yeah, only missing 2.
Which ones are you missing?
I've not seen Favorite or Roma, which is interesting because they're the 2 that I'm trying to decide between which I think is going to win.
Yeah, so I mean, you still have time to see Roma for sure because it's on Netflix. Last I checked, The Favorite was in theaters, so that one might be a little bit hard to find.
Yeah, I think we're in the in-between area now where I think it left theaters about a week or so ago, and it's not come out anywhere yet.
Yeah, so on this one, I'm torn. I really wanted to like Black Klansman. I like parts of it, but overall, I was left a little bit disappointed. I don't think it wins Best Picture. I don't think Bohemian Rhapsody wins Best Picture either. Like, it was fine. I think in years past, Green Book could have won, but I don't think it does right now. And similar to Black Panther, I don't think the first time a comic book movie is nominated for Best Picture, it wins. I think there's going to be too much resistance to that. So in my opinion, those ones are out for me right away on who could win that.
Yeah, I also think Star is Born and Vice are going to be out because they were just too. I don't know. So, obviously, I have a lot of opinions about Star is Born. Vice, I liked a lot. I just don't think it was up to snuff. I think Vice is the one I'm the most surprised to see on this list.
Yeah, I was too, especially after talking to you after you had seen it. I was really surprised to see Vice as a Best Picture.
Yeah, which leaves us with Favorite and Roma.
This one's hard because I actually don't know. I could see Roma winning just because are the Oscars trying to get more international. I actually don't really see the favorite winning because I've heard literally no one talk about it. I mean, I guess it could, but I've heard literally nothing about this movie.
Yeah, and see, I think if gun to my head, that's the one I would pick for my choice this year.
You would go the favorite. All right. This is a tough one for me. I think Roma wins. I would put it on Roma. It would be weird because it would be another year where I feel like this is going to be a big year where it's a movie that wins that most of the general movie going population haven't seen, even though they actually included a lot of movies that the movie population have seen. Like a lot of people saw Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star is Born.
Yeah, and I mean I think that happens a lot. It's up and down. I know the cinemas I work at tends to not get a lot of Oscar winners or even Oscar nominees because they tend to be more artsy films that the general public doesn't typically go to see, and we just don't have a market for it, which is why we always have the old people coming in complaining that we're not getting the award winners because nobody's going to come see them.
Yeah, it's like only a handful of people are going to come see him versus who's going to come to see Aquaman.
Yeah, this is a good year for the nominees in our theater. We only passed on 3 of them. We had 5 out of the 8.
That's pretty good, especially for. I mean, I know you're not in the smallest city, but I would consider at a small market area. Like you're not in New York City.
Oh my, yes.
So all right, so we got our list down. We'll see how we do next on Sunday. The Oscars air in less than 7 days. Was there any pictures? I know we might have gone over this a little bit before, but was there anything you're really surprised didn't make any nomination at all for any of the categories?
Yes, and anyone who follows us on Twitter may have seen I tweeted the last time we talked about this, I thought about it the next day, and I was very disappointed that I hadn't said Searching, which was one of my favorite movies of 2018. Should have been nominated for something.
Yeah, I did see you tweet that out. The one that I'm really surprised doesn't have anything, and I can't remember the name on this. I only remember because you told me about it. It was the movie where they created their own Paleolithic language.
Oh, yes, Alpha. That's also a really, really good one that should have gotten something for maybe like production design or anything. Because, yeah, they really did. They went back and they created a whole language for the cave people.
Yeah, well, that's what got me thinking. I was like, I can't believe that didn't make anything like sound mixing or. Granted, I don't know what those are, but you think it would have been nominated for something.
And maybe this is like a too technical. Like that might be worth diving into. Like see the whatever it is, the technical category Oscars that they do on a separate night that doesn't get aired. I would definitely be interested in taking a look at those categories and seeing if Alpha got anything for anything there.
Yeah, because after a while of thinking about that's the big one that stuck out to me because that one just seemed so ambitious and seemed to somewhat pull it off. Like I thought it would have gotten something. All right, so that is our predictions for the Oscars. Before we head out for this week, Christian, what are you going to be checking out this week?
Well, How to Train Your Dragon 3 comes out, which I'm very, very, very excited about. I'm a little, I'm a little on edge about it just because I love this franchise so much, and I'd hate to see it take a downswing, but yeah, we'll see. I'm Other than that, probably just going to be playing Final Fantasy X, trying to work my way towards the end of that game. I'm getting pretty close, and that's probably going to be it for me. Just watching the Oscars.
Nice. I this week I actually ended up buying an Xbox One, so I've been messing around with that a little bit. I played Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. That was pretty cool. So I'm probably going to play through more of that. And I also picked up Smite on Xbox One and the Switch, which I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a free to play MOBA game, and it's pretty fun. It's not what I thought when I have seen MOBAs. It's more like a third person action game, which I'm really enjoying playing that right now. So I'll probably play more of that. Otherwise, I am working on my platinum of Gravity Rush 2 for my year of the backlog. And I know in our New Year's episode, I said that game was a hidden gem, and I still stand by that, but I'm pulling back a little bit and want to put a asterisk next to it. It is a hidden gem if you only play the main mission. They have 49 side missions, and man, some of them are not great. They really drag the game down to parts where I'm like, oh my god, I have to do 5 side missions. Like, the main missions themselves, awesome. A couple of side missions, pretty cool. Exploring the world with your gravity power is fantastic, but oh my god, parts of that game drag. It's like a mission, a side mission where you're like, okay, we're going to end at like 3 subparts, and they're like, nope, there's like 9 different things you have to do. Like, it just keeps going and not in a good way.
Man.
So trying to work through that one a little bit. It's coming back down to earth on me. So we'll see if we get that one done.
Nice. I guess next week I'll talk about Alita Battle Angel. I watched it this past Wednesday, but we didn't have enough time for it in this episode. I have a lot of opinions about it. I'm not really sure what they are yet, though. I'm still kind of sifting through how I felt about that movie. It was very strange. So I'm excited to talk about that next week.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts because I've seen some articles about it, and like none of them have been like, I would say that none of them are glowing. So I'm really interested to hear about this.
Yeah,
movie.
like I wouldn't call it bad, but I'm definitely not calling it good.
So I look forward to hearing that next week. All right, guys, thanks for checking out our episode. If you want to get in contact with us, either for thoughts or suggestions, or if you have any suggestions for the Amazon review game, you can reach us at gambots.blog@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at Gambots Network. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.